Hey everyone, this is A-Rock coming to you from K9 Wizard TV presented by Olive Branch K9. This is episode 3 of Project Lola. And for this episode, we're going to show you how to load your clicker or load a marker for a 10-week-old puppy. So in our previous episodes that we did, we showed you how to load your clicker with an adolescent dog. So we're going to try to confine the space and still allow for her to move around in I want to say a confined space, but a enclosed space to give us a better opportunity and more encounters and repetitions with the clicker and the loading process. So again, stay tuned.
Go ahead and get started. Just like with all previous episodes, we're going to talk about the equipment and tools we're going to need, our venue setup. We're going to be using the Cricket, the World War II Cricket that I use as a clicker, your food pouch, and don't forget that kibble. We're also going to use the bottom of a shipping crate, just like we did in the other feeding exercise we provided, and just a metal bolt food dish for the last exercises we're going to use. So that's really about it. It's pretty simple. Just make sure your food is something that your dog likes, your puppy likes, and it keeps them engaged in the exercise.
So first we're going to sanitize our cleaning area. Using the rescue. Just because we're going to be throwing food down, we don't want any other order to distract. Just going to wipe this down real quick.
So just like with any other training area or venue, your setup, you want to make sure that your area is free of any debris or any other distractions that your canine or your puppy may encounter. You want to get those good clean reps with the intention on a task as much as you can with that short attention span for some puppies, and then also just make sure it's a clean area and there's no other distractions in a shipping crate if you decide to use one that has the smell or odor or anything in the inside that may distract your puppy when you're running these reps. Again, this is almost exclusively for a situation if you're going to use the bottom of a shipping crate, and that's why I'm wiping this area down. So let's go ahead and get started with our first exercise. This first exercise is going to involve clicking and paying within 0.5 seconds away from us. So I position the crate with the opening towards me so that I can block her if she attempts to break out. It allows us to facilitate the process of getting more engagements or encounters and control the environment where she's moving around in. Your puppy. So I recommend this for puppies more than for adolescent dogs. Usually adolescent dogs and adult dogs will come back to you. But because she's a puppy, she's going to try to stray off and go into other areas. So again, the cadence is click, pay, click, pay. And so when I'm clicking here for these first repetitions, I'm clicking and then paying away from me. So that's absolutely fine. As she comes back to me, eventually that's what we want. But we want to create a situation where we're assigning value and to that auditory click that she starts understanding that reward is imminent. So moving on, as we have a high frequency of success through encounters with the click and toss away, we're going to start assigning value to not just the click, but making that association with the hand as a target. So we keep that cadence relatively same within 0.5 seconds. Click, pay, open, extend the hand, one kibble. I'm pretty proficient at holding a bunch of kibble in my hand, but at the beginning stages, it can be very challenging to do that. So I would just do one kibble in your hand at a time. You may have to rapidly access your treat pouch, but that's okay. If you can't hold all that kibble in your hand, that's absolutely fine. Just try to manipulate it the best way you can. So we are getting those engagements. She's focusing on us. We're extending her hand. We're giving that auditory stimulation with the clicker. Try to avoid spillage and her engaging food without it, when this specific exercise, engaging the food without it being in your hand. That can be challenging, but it happens. If it does happen, it's not the end of the day. Don't worry about it. I'm not these exercises are not intended to be challenging or difficult or hard to understand. At the end of the day, you can mess up these exercises more times than not as long as you're keeping to the click, pay, click, pay. And again, it is offering you the opportunity to get that experience. So let's go ahead and move on to exercise 3. Again, this I am just providing the framework. You don't need to do these specifically in this sequence. It does help as you're gaining progress and you're starting to notice that marker recognition, the clicker recognition coming to you or moving away or anticipating it, the eagerness, that outward change of behavior. That is awesome, but you don't need to strictly adhere to this. Some puppies, some dogs are going to move faster, some are going to move slower. Again, reiterating that this shouldn't be a stressful situation, this shouldn't be challenging as long as you start noticing, and you're going to see it, the recognition in that clicker, and it's going to be that change of behavior, the subtleness of it. If you're noticing that, you're moving in the right direction. So for this one, we're going to be doing engagements. So we want to stimulate the dog and have them drive into the hand, have her drive into the hand and eager to go into the hand, because that's going to facilitate more training components as we move on and do further training. So again, this is just a demonstration that this is something that you can look for and a step that you can include. All right, exercise 4, we're moving on here. So this is going to be a combination of all the previous exercises. We want to keep that puppy, that dog engaged. So we don't ever want them to anticipate where it's coming from. We want them to focus more that reward is imminent because they hear it, and then they either look for where the reward is going to come from or they know where the reward is going to come from. But I like to keep them on their feet and never have them anticipate where the distribution of that reward or that treat is going to be coming from, but that they recognize that that auditory click is a bridge to their reward, that something good is going to happen. That's what I'm trying to do with this last exercise. And you see that I try to fake her out in some ways, which is good. You don't have to be super fast. Just almost you need to anticipate where your next move is. And you don't have to be very quick with the reward. You can actually reduce the cadence of your click in relationship to the distribution, which can be click, pause, and then pay. Exercise 5, time to have a little fun. This is just something that we were building on from the previous exercises. And as your puppy progresses on and moves a little bit faster, your dog moves on a little bit faster, you can add a little bit of environmental adversity to your clicker charging, and you can make it a little bit fun, make it a little bit challenging for them as long as they are moving in the right direction. So I just set this board up to give her a little bit of a challenging introduction back into where she knows she can be successful, and then I jackpot her for her effort. So again, it's not a need or necessity, but as you gain more experience, you want to have fun. You want to start getting your dog, if she's able to handle those challenging situations, to get those good encounters and pay with a jackpot. Moving on to exercise 6. I don't want to call it specifically exercise 6, like you have to go in this sequence, but I want you to have a clear understanding that once your puppy you're able to control them in a controlled environment, and you're able to do a distribution of food and continue charging your marker, it doesn't have to be in a confined or a controlled area. Once you can get those good engagements and those good encounters, move to the dish. Nobody should have the expectation that this has got to be a huge workload or a burden. You can do these simple steps in paying at your hand, paying away from you, jackpotting. You can do all those simple mechanics and components at the food dish. And just like I demonstrated in our other episodes, if you assign the value to that food dish and they get used to hearing that metallic ping with the food, they already have that frame of reference. So don't get locked in. You have to do these in a specific sequence. It's just the framework to give you some guidance. And you shouldn't be struggling every morning or whenever it's time for feeding time to set up your venue or set up your training area the way you need to specifically to move in that sequence. It should be fun. You should, as long as you're getting good engagements. And again, click, pay, click, pay. You get that experience. Your puppy gets the experience. So as you can see here at the end, I'm not going to do this for the entire sequence. I'm going to do it for a few repetitions, and then I'm just going to put her kibble, which is her whole dietary intake for her morning feeding or afternoon feeding, and let her at it. So as we close out this episode, let's just recap real quick of the main behavioral component that I want you to focus on. Don't focus on everything that I've shown you in the framework. That'll come to you with experience. Is click, pay, click, pay. As you start increasing your repetitions and you keep those exercises short and condense them down, as long as you're seeing success with enthusiasm as your puppy or your dog engages, the marker, the auditory marker, and the reward, you're doing the right thing. Again, this is A-Rod coming to you from Canine Wizard TV, Olive Branch Canine, Project Lola.